Hi, the other day I was telling you about this live feed where you can see the oil leak in progress. It looks something like that. And it looks like just this big pipe there. I was thinking, and then there's other pipes nearby too. It doesn't look that big. I was thinking, this doesn't make sense because according to Wayne Madsen, the Corps of Engineers said that this thing was like an oil volcano crater under the ocean. Well, on the 26th of May, if you watch the Dylan Radigan show on MSNBC, because Matt Simmons, there's another leak much bigger, 5 to 6 miles away. They had the expert Matt Simmons on there again. He's an offshore, onshore drilling expert. And he said that this, what we're seeing, the live leak, the live footage, is not the blowout. It's not the big leak. That thing is 5 or 6 miles away. Which, of course, makes sense because it didn't look like what the Corps of Engineers had described. But it just goes to show you how far the media wants to go to keep the public in the dark. That they actually put this footage out of the leak, and it's not even the real leak. And another thing I noticed, I was watching ABC News where they were talking about Jacques Cousteau's son going down there and saying what a disaster it is. And right after that, something about American Idol comes on. It's like that guy, Simon, whatever, he's leaving or something, and they're doing a tribute to him. And then after that, it's some Dancing with the Stars and some chick saying how Dancing with the Stars really helped me get my life back together. Who gives a fuck? I mean, you've got this apocalyptic scenario, and you're talking about the oil leak, and you follow that up with like non-news. I mean, it's not even like Angelina's having another baby. It's just nothing. I'm still trying to figure out, like, is this like the catastrophic end time scenario that it could be? I guess it could be. The media definitely wants you to stay asleep because they're trying to get you to think about American Idol. Okay, this is from Project Syndicate, Oil in the Gulf Then and Now. Here's the thing. In 1979, there was an oil rig blowout in the Gulf of Mexico. The company was called Pemex, I think. Anyway, the rig was called Ixtoc 1 or Ixtoc 1. Yeah, Pemex. And it blew. And the reason it blew was that something went wrong and seawater got in there instead of the heavy drilling mud, which is supposed to keep the gas and oil down with its pressure. That time it happened by accident. This time they actually replaced the drilling mud with seawater. That's what Halliburton did when they cemented the well. So, and that led to the blowout both times. And another thing is that both times in the, salvaging or cleanup or, trying to stop it efforts, they went through all the same steps that time as they're doing this time. They tried to cap it. They called it a sombrero last time, which they did this time. They tried to put a dome on it. And then they tried to put a little tube in there, and they tried the top kill method, putting stuff in there. Oh, by the way, Nicholas Pozzi on that video I showed you from the Dylan Radigan show, he said that putting drilling mud in there without an O-ring is totally pointless. It's just like you're just putting it in the water. It's just going to go all over. So it's not possible that what they're doing now is going to solve the problem. But anyway, they did all those things back in '79 as well, and none of it worked. Okay, what finally fixed the Ixtoc well was drilling a release well. That was the only thing that worked. So the point is that this happened in '79 on a smaller scale, because at that time it took them nearly 10 months to fix it, but it only released a total of 3 million barrels of oil into the Gulf of Mexico. I say only because this is releasing 100,000 a day, so do the math. How much would it be in 9 or 10 months? A lot more than 3 million, right? But the point is that it's happened before. You'd think after that they would take precautions to make sure it wouldn't happen again, but they didn't. But you'd also think they would have learned from it and they would know how to cap it. And you know what? Personally, I think they do. If it's anything like Ixtoc, they know what to do, and they're just delaying it to, as Rahm Emanuel says, never let a good crisis go to waste. I suspect that they have learned from experience, and there is a lot more that they could be doing, because you also see on the federal level, the government is hindering the efforts of local level government attempts to prevent more damage or to clean up existing damage, like they're telling them to take hay off the beaches in Florida. They wouldn't give them permission to do certain things in Louisiana to protect the marshlands. So you know that they're really trying to maximize the crisis. But you know, my point is just that it happened in '79 on a smaller scale, but it played out almost the same way. You'd think that there is a solution to this, and they're not doing it. So maybe, no, it's not going to be the end of the world, but they may maximize it, at least to the point where they'll have to affect relocations, because when that oil comes in, all that benzene is going to just make that area toxic. And according to Karen, they already have UN vehicles at Reynolds Air Force Base, and you can apparently see that, I think, on Google Earth. You know what their plans are. So they may use that to, you know, evacuate those areas and just clear them out, relocate you. And when they had the Katrina, they let the people stew, and they made it as worse as possible, as bad as possible. So then when Hurricane Gustav came along, which wasn't a hurricane, and they knew that, because they have the technology to know nearly 100% accuracy a day before what the category of the storm is, you know, within a range. There's no way they would have been off by 5-6 categories. Okay, so they knew, and still they played it out like it's going to be this huge thing, and they evacuated everyone, and they put RFID on them. We're also very close to e-government readiness program. We're at 1 pretty much, so we're basically ready for e-government. And they did that with Katrina, and with Gustav, that was a drill. And the swine flu also plays into this. Just the fact that after the swine flu was found to be very mild, and there was no need for this panic, this vaccine, it was a non-existent pandemic, and still they did all these polls to see why did the 40% of Canadians refuse the vaccine after the fact. They should have said, well, great, they refused it, they didn't need it. But they're still trying to assess, you know? So I think they're using all that like as, you know, battle, like reconnoitering, you know, advanced assessing, and then they're going to put it into play. But it has to be the right situation, the right crisis. And I'd say possibly this will be the right crisis to, hey, I don't want to sound apocalyptic here, but to move large amounts of people out of the area, to evacuate them, and to RFID bracelet them, if not chip them. So I guess we'll see what happens. I hope I'm wrong.